I never imagined a normal family trip would spiral into the most horrifying experience of my life. We were cruising nearly 30,000 feet above the ground when everything went wrong. My 8-year-old daughter, Lily, started turning blue in her seat, her small chest jerking as she struggled through a sudden asthma attack. And the woman seated beside us, the same one who'd been shooting us dirty looks since boarding, was gripping Lily's bright purple inhaler in her hand, refusing to give it back. How did a total stranger end up holding my child's life-saving medication? And why was she smiling while Lily fought for every breath? It all began the moment we boarded the red-eye flight from Chicago to Orlando. I was traveling alone with Lily because my husband had been stuck at work. Lily's had asthma since she was 3, but we've always kept it under control. She never goes anywhere without her inhaler, tucked into a little pink pouch clipped to her backpack. I checked it before we left the house, saw it again when we settled into our seats, and even reminded her to keep it nearby. We were seated in row 14, aisle and middle, 14B and 14C. The window seat, 14A, was occupied by a woman in her late 50s. Crisp linen pants, pearl earrings, short blonde bob. The kind of woman who looks like she dominates HOA meetings for sport. She introduced herself as Karen with a stiff smile, then immediately complained to the flight attendant that Lily's stuffed unicorn was invading her leg space. I apologized, shifted the toy, kept things polite. Lily fell asleep within minutes, her head resting on my lap, and I honestly believed the 6-hour flight would pass quietly. That belief didn't last long. About 2 hours in, turbulence hit hard. The seatbelt sign lit up, drink service stopped, and Lily began coughing in her sleep. I recognized the signs instantly. The tight cough, the wheeze that followed. I reached into the seat pocket for her inhaler. It wasn't there. I checked her backpack beneath the seat. Empty. The pouch was gone. My stomach dropped. I whispered Lily's name, shook her gently. She woke up frightened, already struggling. "Mommy, can't breathe good," she rasped, eyes wide with panic. I slammed the call button and told the flight attendant it was an emergency. My daughter needed her inhaler, and it was missing. While we waited, I rubbed Lily's back, trying to calm her, but her lips were starting to turn gray. That's when I noticed Karen shifting beside me, arms crossed, purse clutched on her lap like armor. Something wasn't right. I asked if she'd seen anything fall. She looked straight at me and said, "No, dear, maybe you forgot it at security. Happens all the time with careless parents." Careless. The word burned, but Lily mattered more. The flight attendant arrived, radioed for a medical professional on board, and asked if anyone had a spare inhaler. No one did. Lily's wheezing grew louder, terrifyingly loud. I was close to breaking when I begged Karen to move so I could check the floor properly. She sighed theatrically, opened her purse as if to help, and there it was. The purple inhaler, my daughter's name sticker still clearly visible. Karen froze for a heartbeat, then snapped her purse shut and said, "Oh, how odd. Must have rolled in here by accident." Accident? The seat pocket was on my side. Lily's pouch had been clipped shut. There was no possible way it rolled across 2 seats into her zip purse. I reached for it, but Karen yanked the purse away, clutching to her chest. "I think we should let the crew handle this," she announced loudly, eyes darting to nearby passengers. "You seem very upset, and I don't feel safe." Lily was clawing at my arm now, barely getting air. I screamed at Karen to give it back, told her it was prescribed medication, and my child could die. Phones came out. Karen smirked and said, "I'm protecting everyone until proper authorities confirm it's safe." The flight attendant stepped in, calmly asking Karen a hand over the inhaler. Karen refused, claiming she'd found it on the floor, and was holding it until landing for safety reasons. Safety. My daughter was turning blue inches away from her. That's when the head attendant arrived, voice firm, threatening to declare a full emergency. Karen finally opened her purse, but instead of giving it to me, she placed it on her tray table like she was doing us a favor. I grabbed it, fired 2 puffs into Lily's mouth, and held her close as the medicine slowly kicked in. We were both crying by then. You'd think that would be the end. It wasn't. As Lily's breathing steadied and color returned to her cheeks, the captain made an announcement. The flight would continue, but upon landing, law enforcement and medical personnel will be waiting at the gate. Karen's face drained to color. She leaned toward me, whispering apologies, calling a misunderstanding, saying the inhaler looked suspicious. Suspicious? It had a pharmacy label and my child's name on it. The crew didn't care. They moved us to first class for the rest of the flight, put Lily on oxygen as a precaution, and kept a flight attendant stationed nearby. I thought the nightmare would end once we landed. I was wrong. We touched down in Orlando just after sunrise. The moment the seatbelt sign clicked off, 2 flight attendants flanked Karen's row like sentries. She stood up, smoothing her blouse, acting like nothing had happened, until the head attendant blocked her path and said, loud enough for the entire cabin to hear, "Ma'am, please remain seated. Ground authorities have been notified." The color drained from Karen's face, yet she still forced that brittle smile, muttering that everyone was being dramatic. The crew escorted us off the plane first. I carried Lily in my arms, her breathing finally steady, but her little body clung to me like a koala refusing to let go. Paramedics were waiting at the gate. They checked her vitals, gave her a nebulizer treatment just to be cautious. Lily whispered if the mean lady was going to jail. I didn't know what to tell her. As Lily was taken for observation, I glanced back down the jet bridge. 2 uniformed officers were already speaking to Karen. She was waving her arms wildly, insisting she'd been assaulted when I grabbed the inhaler. Assaulted. My 8-year-old had nearly suffocated because of her. I gave my statement right there in the terminal, showed the officers a prescription label, the pharmacy sticker with Lily's name, explained how the inhaler could not possibly have ended up inside a zip purse by accident. They nodded, documented everything, and asked if I wanted to press charges. A part of me wanted to shout yes, but Lily needed me more than revenge. So I said I'd decide after she was medically cleared. They told me Karen was being detained for questioning and that the airline had already flagged her account. It should have felt like justice. It didn't. While Lily slept in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, my phone rang. Airline customer service. The representative apologized repeatedly, offered full refunds, future flight credits, even hotel and theme park tickets to salvage our vacation. Then her tone changed. "Ma'am, there's something else you should know. The passenger in 14A, she'd done this before." My stomach dropped. Done what before? The rep explained Karen, full name Karen Whitmore, was a frequent flyer on that exact route. Always alone. Always the window seat. Over the past 2 years, there have been 4 separate complaints involving children. Missing medication, vanished EpiPens, a diabetic child's glucose tabs that somehow ended up in her bag. In every case, the item reappeared only after the child was already in distress. Nothing ever stuck. Parents were shaken, eager to move on with their trips. Karen always claimed it was an accident. I felt nauseous. This wasn't entitlement. It was intentional. The airline finally had enough reports to ban her permanently. Security escorted her out of the terminal in handcuffs. Not under arrest, but because she refused to leave without her belongings and started screaming at staff. Videos were already spreading online. Passengers had uploaded clips from the flight with captions like "Karen almost kills child over inhaler." The internet erupted. By the time Lily was discharged later that afternoon with a clean bill of health, Karen's full name was trending. People dug up her Facebook, her HOA page where she was president. Photos of her smiling at block parties were reposted with captions like "keeping our community safe." Neighbors flooded the comments, calling her controlling, vindictive, obsessed with rules. One even said she'd once reported a kid's lemonade stand for lacking a permit. I thought it would fade once we reached Disney, that we could focus on making happy memories. That night, as Lily finally fell asleep in the hotel, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. 6 words. "You should have minded your child." Attached was a photo taken inside the plane. Lily asleep on my lap before the attack. Karen had been watching us the entire time. My heart pounded. How did she get my number? And what was she planning next? I blocked the number, but sleep never came. Every notification made me jump. By morning, Lily was bouncing with excitement. begging to meet Elsa. I forced a smile. We were here for her. But as we rode the monorail into the park, my phone exploded again, emails this time. Dozens. Subject lines like "You ruined my life," and "Your brat deserved it." Different addresses, same venom, all signed a concerned citizen. I forwarded everything to the airline and the police, who were now building a case for endangerment and harassment. Then a local news alert popped up. HOA president banned from major airline after mid-flight incident with child. Lily's face was blurred in the videos. Thank God. Karen's wasn't. The comments were ruthless. Thousands calling her a monster, demanding charges. Her HOA group went private overnight. We spent the day at the park trying to forget. Lily laughed on rides, hugged characters, ate Mickey ice cream. For a few hours, life felt normal again. That evening, back at the hotel, the front desk called. Someone had tried to access our reservation, claiming to be family. Security stopped her. The description matched Karen exactly. Same blonde bob, same linen outfit. She'd followed us to Orlando. My hands shook as I called the detective handling the case. He told me to stay put, that a no-contact order had been issued, and they were tracking her. Then he paused. "Ma'am, we finally got her to talk. You need to hear why she did it." Karen Whitmore had lost her only son 20 years earlier to an untreated asthma attack on a school bus. He was 9. His inhaler wasn't with him. Paramedics arrived too late. After that, something in her broke. She convinced herself parents were careless, that children were dying because mothers like me didn't take asthma seriously. She targeted families on flights, hid critical medication, waited for a crisis, then returned it to prove her point. In her mind, she was teaching lessons, saving lives. The earlier incidents were carefully timed. With Lily, she miscalculated. Turbulence sped everything up. The attack hit harder, and for the first time, she nearly didn't give it back. The detective said she sobbed during questioning, repeating, "I was trying to make her care like I cared." Grief had twisted into something dangerous. The airline ban was permanent. Charges for reckless endangerment and stalking were filed. A judge granted us a full restraining order by the next morning. Neighbors came forward with stories of Karen patrolling streets, reporting parents, calling CPS over minor issues. The HOA board removed her unanimously. Her house went up for sale within a week. We finished our vacation without seeing her again. Lily never knew how close it came or why I checked her inhaler 10 times a day. On the flight home, first class again, courtesy of the airline, she slept clutching her unicorn and inhaler while I held it tight. Sometimes I still shiver thinking how one woman's unresolved pain nearly stole my daughter's future. But Lily's laugh is louder now, and every breath she takes feels like a victory. Karen sits behind bars awaiting trial, finally forced to face the damage she caused while chasing ghosts. And I will never again take a single puff of that little purple inhaler for granted.